Don't forget to like and subscribe.
What is good, Nomad Pack, Internet peoples? How we doing today? Good afternoon, Major Nomad here, and we are going to be diving into and unpacking, reacting to a lot of the protesting chaos that has been going on in Ireland, and fully understandable too, especially with that whole Henry, well, it was more or less in the UK, but the Henry Novak, plus the recent incident with a so-called Sudanese illegal migrant with a ceremonial knife, even though even in Ireland those are illegal to carry it around. But like I said, even legal immigrant criminals aren't going to listen to goofy, stupid governments. So this just goes to show you, off on a little tangent here, mind you, but just this goes to show you that people aren't going to listen to things, especially when it comes to weapon bans, so to speak. Not for nothing, but very small amount of countries can pull that off. But Western Europe, America, Canada, etc., not so much. I just wanted to let that sink in there. Now let that sink in, and on to the next thing. The Sudanese person who was, we will get fully dive into that as well, but for the basic information, basically a Sudanese illegal immigrant was trying to behead a poor elderly person with disabilities for no apparent reason other than he is messed up in the head, and the government wanted to kind of just let that go and charge him and probably give a slap on the wrist, or the typical, similar to the UK, they want to say, oh, we're going to not even put him in jail or so, we're going to try to rehabilitate him and everything. Let alone for smaller crimes and stuff that could possibly work, but for people that are willing to do that in broad daylight in front of public to a poor person, there's no rehabilitating that. The only thing you could do is dump him off back to where he came, or lock him up and throw away the key. I'm going to be very honest there. There's no helping people who are willing to do that in public. You got to be really fucked in the head to do that in public to a random person that did absolutely nothing to you. I digress. Let's dive into this part right here by Jim Ferguson. A political earthquake is rippling across Ireland. I've been keeping up with some of the stuff. It's been getting me hyped myself, and it's been making me want to say in support. I even made some tweets and retweets to that. Shout out to the based Irish people. From Belfast to Dublin, the mood is changing. A powerful speech today highlighted the growing anger and frustration felt by many who believe their concerns have been ignored for too long. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. What is emerging is bigger than a single protest, bigger than a single city, and potentially bigger than the politicians who thought they could simply ride out the storm. The ground is shifting. Yep, they thought they could sweep a lot of this stuff under the rug, but they're dead fucking wrong, I'll tell you that. You done fucked up. And this, I will say before we start the video, I'm glad there's more of this going on too, because it's a prime example when people get together and voice out frustration and protest and really let the government know you done goofed with this policy or law into place, what have you. That scares the shit out of the government, because there ain't no blind follow or turn the other cheek bullshit. It lets people know, don't push too far, you idiot government politicians, because you push too far, we're gonna let you know. Not for nothing. I digress. Let's unpack.
These are facts, people. Check it if you don't believe me. Look all over the world. They're trying to wipe out Christianity. And now they've got to Ireland, and that's their plan. And it's looking very likely to me. The travellers are already taking up less than 1% of the population. Now the average Irish person are going to be a minority in this country if we do not stand up and do something about it.
Is that Conor McGregor? If that's him, that's awesome. They got Conor McGregor involved. That's a big head to be getting involved in this. If he's involved, then you know that's going to create a lot of traction. Okay, back to the clip.
What's happened in this country? They're doing sex education classes for as young as 4-year-olds. No 4-year-old should know about these things. No 4-year-old
big facts,
should
I agree.
No are being taught them in fucking schools.
Big facts. That's been a problem in a lot of the woke areas in America. This has given more people ideas. We need more of this, especially in America, because, yeah, I agree. That's why a lot of people are with a brain and who aren't lazy parents have been pulling them out of public school if they can't afford private school. That's homeschool because of the garbage they're trying to push on the kids and all the propaganda. Like, nah, get your own little freaking woke liberal soldiers and don't put bullshit in our kids' heads. Exactly. Fuck that. I completely agree with this guy.
One last thing I'll say. Up the north, a man almost got beheaded. This is a man who suffered from disabilities himself. He already could barely see out of his eyes before this attack. He had a lack of hearing. This man also played a part in taking these people in, trying to care for them. But what did he do? They turned on him. They turned on him and tried to take his life. Only for a hero to step in and nearly take him out. The last thing I will say, a good friend of mine, John Mulhall, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, these are facts, the videos are there to prove it. A man approached him recently, a Muslim man, with a knife. He could see it in his waistband. He asked the man to show him the knife. The man wouldn't show it. He finally pulled it up. The guards got called on site. John said to the guards, if this was an Irishman, what would you do? They admitted they would arrest him.
Exactly, that's some bullshit. See, illegal immigrants get away with a slap on the wrist or nothing, while their own citizens get arrested like it's some weird communist fucking thing against, in my opinion, it's on the level of what Nazis did to the people in the Holocaust, but with their own people. That is crazy. You're gonna let somebody who you put the laws in, which is stupid to begin with, oh, you can't even have a knife in your pocket for this self-defense. I could see he was carrying probably a dagger you could see and easily pull out, kind of like how people do in the waistband with the guns. It was visible, and then people seen it and probably reported, and they said, oh, whatever. But if an Irish-owned born citizen did that, he would be in jail. Now that's fucked up. I feel bad. Fight the good fight, Irish people. Fight the good fight. W-based Irish folks.
Catholics in this country, and he says, John, you've got to understand their culture and religion. This is Ireland! This is Ireland! Disgrace! For everyone else who's not here, congratulations to everyone that is here. But whoever's not here, it's time to stop sitting back. Get out on the streets, march, and take them out!
Look, I like a lot of the older folks, too, who are generally more nicer and more understanding, just like the guy who almost got beheaded. He was a legal immigrant refugee sympathizer. And that's all well and nice, but you gotta understand, you don't want an open border policy with that. You want to do vetting immigration, which is controlled. You want controlled. It's one thing if you want to help people. That's very noble, and I could see the benefit to that, but not if you let them just go in the country without vetting and making sure they don't have criminal history or mental health issues, I will say. And when you just give them free stuff and the people who are hurting in your country don't benefit from anything free or so. Now that is really messed up in our country here in the States. We're dealing with that same exact bullshit under the Biden and other previous administrations before that. And I think I could speak for a lot of based Americans here, not just including myself, but we don't like that. Now, if you want to give them certain free stuff, but make sure they work on it and work on building themselves, and people aren't using it, give them some small, as long as you're making sure you get an investment back on it and you're not wasting taxpayer money. My thing is start them off with studio apartments, but on really nice areas of the city, you know, decent enough, but studio apartments, trailer parks, or something like that, and have them work their way up. And then when they prove they're asset to the society and the country, and they're not squandering their opportunities trying to make a better life and benefit the country and not be users, then all well and good. people would understand and respect that more. But just giving them nice free stuff right off rip, paying for stuff with taxpayer money that the people are paying for, and you're not helping your own born people, citizens who are dealing with a lot of issues and not being able to pay bills and whatnot, people are going to feel a type of way about that. I digress. Chat, nomads, let me know what you think about that one. Okay, this next one, I've been keeping up with some of these Irish posters. Global Descent, shout out to him. Belfast, Northern Ireland, the third night of the protests saw tension remains high and unrest continued across the city. If politicians keep ignoring public anger, this crisis is only going to get worse. Big facts, and it scares people. Here's one of the posts right now of what the recent protest happened. One of the recent ones, anyway. Look into this. The police vans are throwing stuff at it. They don't care, man. There's fire, too. I wonder if they threw a Molotov cocktail. I know they've been doing that with the little houses and stuff that the government gave these refugees, but not to the police cars, because this is some IRA shit if they did. Who threw a brick, even though a brick ain't gonna do much to armored police vehicles, but still. Look at the guy filming in his house in the background. Well, outside his house. Crazy. Well, you know, like I said, you done fucked up when people do that. Now, I will say this, I'm gonna definitely show one of the clips where they've been, and I don't completely agree with this, I will say, because, okay, let me say it first before I explain, show the video, I'll explain this. For the illegal immigrants that have been staying there, was apparently a post, and I'll show that too, where they were doxing and exposing different, I don't know if it was the IRA, a branch of them, the UDF or so, but what I do know is when that exposed, a lot of the immigrants got scared and just fled the home they were in, or were trying to pack up really fast before it happened, when some of these protesters pretty much burnt some of the illegal immigrants' cars. And I will say a couple of them looked like very nice cars. I'm talking luxury, like BMW or so. And I'm like, how did you get the money for that? And they burnt down the houses the government gave them, like, you know how they have the smaller townhouses and stuff like that? They are kind of together, like apartment townhouses, or, you know, they're more smaller time. Now, I will say, I don't completely agree with that, because you don't want to, possibly if somebody's in there, whether a kid or not, I know they're illegal immigrants or so, but that's one thing I kind of don't agree with. You don't want to burn some down and then you kill one or two of them, especially if it's possibly a kid. Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna jump all over them and be all like the woke liberals are about it. Oh no, you're harming and scaring them. It's like, well, the government kind of brought it on themselves indirectly to have these protesters react that way. Not that I'm saying I completely agree with this. It's one thing if you want to break the windows of said house and then maybe do what the Whale Wars people did. If you ever seen that Whale Wars show back a few years ago when they were throwing those homemade stink bombs into the Japanese ships, even though that doesn't really do much of anything, because them whale hunting and stuff like that, they already kind of stink as it is. So not for nothing, but that doesn't really do much. Besides the point, though, different circumstances when they're in a house. It's one thing doing enough, chaos, breaking the windows, because eventually when you get it back, windows are cheaper to fix, and then have those homemade, really rank-smelling stink bombs and throwing them into the homes where it really stinks up the homes and doesn't go away unless you deeply clean it or hire services or so to get that stench and all of that out of the house, because think about it. Logically, no attacks on the protesters. I see where they're coming from, but think about it. Why torch something you want to get back, and then it's going to cost way more money to fix it when you burn it to the ground? Think about that, especially... I'm sure not all immigrants live in that one area in the college town area where a lot of this is happening. You don't want to indirectly hurt or damage your fellow countrymen that may be there too. That because your fellow countrymen could be amongst them because they probably don't have a lot of money or so. But realistically, am I wrong about this? I mean, why torch something you're trying to get back? Not just, I'm saying, just saying. Something to think about before you go ahead and do the firebomb option. I digress. Hopefully, either way, nobody got killed. And I think they put enough fear in, so I will show you the clip where a lot of them started getting in their cars that haven't been torched, been fleeing out of the area in Belfast, Dublin area. But yeah, do let me know what you think about that one. Okay, Nomad Pack, this is what I was saying. It happened in a friend of mine's Discord, and a friend of mine from Ireland themselves showed me this post on Facebook of the places that these protesters were doxxed and were made to hit. They were going to do a hit on these homes that have been acquired from the government to give to the illegal immigrants. Now, this seems like a fair amount of places, and I can understand the anger if they didn't come here. I mean, come there in the country, earn their way after pretty much being handed nice area, well, nice enough area, free work in that on a silver platter, and they either let it go to shit, not taking care of the place, and they've been in the streets causing issues with the locals born and raised there. Now, I can completely get why people are not too happy about that and why all of this would happen. Now, like I said, I don't fully condone burning the place and sold to the ground, especially. And especially, I guess, the cars. It's one thing breaking a couple windows here and there, but even then, I'm not saying I fully condone all, but breaking the windows, at least those are easily replaceable and fixed compared to burning the house or the car that the illegal immigrants were to drive in, because some of them, if you want them to flee, how are you going to make them flee faster out the area and pack up their bags to get out of there? Not for nothing. But these are supposedly the targets that have been targeted, and I think I recognized one of the areas when I was deeply researching it. I will show you that clip, stay tuned, but yeah, let me get your 2 cents on that as well. I'm very curious to get your guys' opinions and 2 cents on it. Okay, Nomad Pack, here's one of the retweets from a friend of mine I follow on here, on the Twitter, by Irish. Breaking, I'll get the full post of this retweet. Pissed off American. Breaking. Ulster paramilitaries are mobilizing and are warning the third world immigrants invading their country that they will use force to violently remove them if they do not migrate to their home countries voluntarily. Yeah, this is some IRA shit, yo. That's not for nothing. Not that I'm just gonna say, government, you kind of brought this on yourself and you done goof. That's all. That's all. Not gonna say I fully, but you push people far enough, you're gonna get this. If you push people, let this be a lesson to you, you stupid politicians that want to be in power and office. All the money in the world isn't gonna stop or protect against that. Not for nothing. Let that be a lesson and a warning to you. You shouldn't be putting stupid policies that just hurt the general public of your country and the people born and raised there that don't cause issues and that are just normal people living their lives, because this is what you get. You get what you get. before I show one of the fire Molotov cocktail fire videos, look into this recent post that just happened as of recent. We don't fool around in Ireland. Belfast boys went door to door seeking out migrant occupied houses. They had enough of ultra violent migrants attacks on Irish people. Like I said, I don't blame them. The government started all this, but by God's will, the Irish will finish it. Pretty much he was trying to say. I know he didn't fully say it like that, but he was pretty much saying that. I digress. Let's see what we got here.
Bloody hell, mate. Fucking hell. Fucking hell, mate. Jeez. Whoa! Fuck. I don't know why we're running. People just started sprinting. There must be at least two. Bloody hell, what's going on? Fucking hell. People are running.
I think the cops came or something.
This guy's in camo.
The cops must have came in there like, oh yeah, I'm dipping. You're not going to catch me. That's crazy. Migrant exposed himself to 11-year-old. Doesn't end well. In Ireland. Oh. We need to take notes on this one if that was the case. Footage shows the aftermath after an imported engineer allegedly exposed himself to a child in Ireland. A lot of these allegedlys tend to be true, but for a lot of the times it tends to be true. I digress. The incident has sparked further outrage amid ongoing protests and tensions over immigration and child safety. If you want more raw, on-the-ground UK and Ireland unrest footage, protest, and hard-hitting street-level moments like this follow. Maybe. Let's look at the clip. He got really messed up, though. Holy.
Don't ever take your dick out in front of kids and start washing it again, you fucking wrongin'. You deserve what you just got. I'd advise you to get up off the street, get your legs together, and move. Because I'm going to badly. Don't ever take your
Yo, that's gangster. And he had his pants down. With his pants kind of sagging down, it's hard to beat that allegation. I digress. Nomad Pack Internet. Let me know what you think about that one. Again, here's another banger by Jim Ferguson. This is one of the clips I wanted to show you. He indirectly has a better one available for us. Shout out to him. New Night 3 changes everything. The government is desperately hoping the unrest burns itself out, because if Belfast erupts for a third consecutive night, the situation enters dangerous territory. A single night can be dismissed, 2 nights can be managed, but 3 nights suggests something much deeper is happening. The next hours could determine whether this crisis fades away or spreads far beyond Belfast. Either way, let's see what happens. There's probably not enough cops to arrest everybody, though. If it does. I thought it was burning the house, but they're burning the cop car? Or trying to? Well, the cop truck. If it's one thing they got an abundance of fire bombs. Crazy. See, the cops didn't even go out and try to stop them, because I think similar to the UK, their cops are not allowed to have guns on them directly. I gotta still show the house ones. Like I said, some people can take it to the extreme. However, if the government's pretty much siding with the illegal migrants causing issues, especially law enforcement, well, I guess that's when people become their own law at that point. See what happens when you don't do your jobs right and you protect foreign invaders over your own people. Alright, I digress. Alright, chat. I wanted to get into that firebomb video, but let me just show this. This post happened about 6-7 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, by the New Republic of Ireland, like people who used to be in the IRA but made their a newer thing to combat what's been going on. These guys right here warned the government earlier not to push on this illegal migrant stuff and give them free homes and letting them pour into the country. And pretty much people are going to debate this and get into a stupid tangent, but I fully believe in it's been an apparent at this point. You got to not have a brainstem in your skull to see it, but have a bigger migration thing where it has more, they have more population numbers or so to control more of the regular people that would stand up for it, the country, and fight back against idiot politicians, while the idiot politicians got more of these illegal migrants to kind of control and have more voting power and call it, some people call it the Great White Replacement. Maybe there's some validity to that, but I just call it the Great Citizen Replacement, because people born and raised there that would fight back against really bad, corrupt politicians when they're illegal immigrants that are getting stuff handed to them, even if it isn't fully the best. They're not bound to argue and want to keep voting for people that would get the free stuff, but once that runs out and once they don't have a use for them, you know what they can do. And this is a conspiracy theory, a lot of people say, but there's a lot of validity to it, where a lot of these conspiracy theories that come out, so to speak, there's a lot of truth and validity to it where it's very hard to ignore, because I digress. But like I said, when you have illegal migrants coming over and you have these politicians that want more voting power and they try to give them either green cards or citizenships or so right away so they are able to vote for them, depending on how the system works in that country. I'm not too familiar how the political system works too much in Ireland, I'll be honest, but I'm pretty sure they have similarities with us, where you have to be born and raised there and you have to be 18 to vote. Maybe a little younger. I don't fully know. However, when you get people like that just coming over and then the government wanting to give them free stuff to set them up and eventually give them the citizenship and the voting power, they're going to be wanting to give it to them because they gave them the free stuff, and they pretty much give them slaps on the wrist so they could keep the voting power so they don't get charges, because if you have a felony in this country or so, you can't vote. So that's why they don't want to charge them with coming across legally or causing the issues they do. And not only that, when they are useful tools to them, and eventually when that usefulness runs out, then the illegal migrants wake up and saying, what, is this what the people were complaining about? These guys are scumbags. But nope, you can't talk back to the people that fed you, because you weren't naturally born and raised there, so they could deport you anytime they freaking can. Let's not forget, as much as people want to talk about Trump and ICE and everything like that, he's probably getting close to on par with Obama's number. But remember, secretly, and I got to give credit because this was smart, but Obama deported a lot of illegal immigrants, way more than Trump has, or ICE under Trump's watch. Now that number is probably getting close to Obama's and maybe exceeds it in a good way, which I agree. Pro-immigration and ICE is what keeps a country stable. Wild, open border immigration is what can destroy a country from within and make it into a hellhole, and you don't want that. That's how an empire like the Roman Empire can get crushed. I digress. Let's watch this clip. Oh, and another side tangent real quick. Like I said earlier, the government talks about banning guns, gun control, all that stuff. Well, as you can see, these guys didn't seem to have that much trouble getting themselves guns. I digress. Let's watch.
To the people of Newry, Mourne and Down, we, the New Republican movement, have watched their councillors and MLAs over the past 12 months. The level of disrespect shown to the people who put you to power, this cannot be ignored any longer. We are proud men of Ireland. We are patriots. Your policies and decision-making in regards to flooding our communities with undocumented military-aged men is not acceptable. We will not sit back any longer and watch our culture and religion destroyed by the people we put in power. Also, the sexual indoctrination of our children in schools has not went unnoticed either. The New Republican movement will take immediate action against anyone who threatens our ways of life and the safety of our women and children. We have your addresses and known your movements. Every one of you are legitimate targets as of today. The New Republican movement, 28th of 11/25.
Not for nothing, but he has a lot of good, strong points that our conservative party, supposedly, and others talk about. He makes good points. Not for nothing. I digress, though. Let me know what you think about all that, Nomad Pack. Alright, Nomad Pack, here's one of the clips of them burning the cars in some of these houses. The protesters in, I believe, the New Republic of Ireland paramilitary group in Dublin.
We're getting hollered tonight. We're getting hollered.
Well, well, well. Oh. Wow. See, look at that. That's a newer BMW. It looks really nice too, but, well, scratch that. It did look very nice. I wonder how I was able to get that kind of car. I knew he probably didn't hit a nice lottery, won a fair amount of money off a nice lottery ticket, whoever owned it. Yeah, like I said before, whether you agree with this or not, I will say it's one thing doing it to the car, but to the homes and the housing projects there, you don't want to burn your nice little area or town. I believe this is a college area too, to the ground and make it uninhabitable for upcoming students that want to go into college and pick up either trades or something very useful in the school for studying, because they are going to need some place to crash, especially if they're miles away from the college, from their parents' house, etc. I mean, this is just my 2 cents. It's kind of already, how should I say, extreme. I'll be fair here, extreme enough going after the vehicles, but don't get the houses. Like I said, break a few windows. Not that I fully agree. If they broke a few windows, threw stink bombs in there and make it very unpleasant for the people that are living there, that's one thing. But burning it to the ground, I wouldn't torch something I'm trying to take back is what I said. But it's not my country. This is just my suggestion. So if they feel that's necessary, by all means, just make sure you're able to replace what you destroyed. Keep that in mind. Here's one of the things that got really burnt down too, and then this house, like the garage. The protesters are just sitting back. Some of them are walking back, but they're enjoying that little bonfire there. Oh man, that's crazy. Do let me know what you think about that one. Alright, Nomad Pack, here's one of the clips of them burning the cars in some of these houses. The protesters in, I believe, the New Republic of Ireland paramilitary group in Dublin.
We're getting hollered tonight. We're getting hollered.
Well, well, well. Oh. Wow. See, look at that. That's a newer BMW. It looks really nice too, but, well, scratch that. It did look very nice. I wonder how I was able to get that kind of car. I knew he probably didn't hit a nice lottery, won a fair amount of money off a nice lottery ticket, whoever owned it. Yeah, like I said before, whether you agree with this or not, I will say it's one thing doing it to the car, but to the homes and the housing projects there, you don't want to burn your nice little area or town. I believe this is a college area too, to the ground and make it uninhabitable for upcoming students that want to go into college and pick up either trades or something very useful in the school for studying, because they are going to need some place to crash, especially if they're miles away from the college, from their parents' house, etc. I mean, this is just my 2 cents. It's kind of already, how should I say, extreme. I'll be fair here, extreme enough going after the vehicles, but don't get the houses. Like I said, break a few windows. Not that I fully agree. If they broke a few windows, threw stink bombs in there and make it very unpleasant for the people that are living there, that's one thing. But burning it to the ground, I wouldn't torch something I'm trying to take back is what I said. But it's not my country. This is just my suggestion. So if they feel that's necessary, by all means, just make sure you're able to replace what you destroyed. Keep that in mind. Here's one of the things that got really burnt down too, and then this house, like the garage. The protesters are just sitting back. Some of them are walking back, but they're enjoying that little bonfire there. Oh man, that's crazy. Do let me know what you think about that one. And a quick reminder for those that don't know, Nomad Pack Internet Peoples, this is what started it right there. Sudanese thug attempted to behead a man in Belfast, received asylum through a simplified procedure. Instead of a standard interview, he filled out a 10-page home office questionnaire, a scheme introduced in 2023 to speed up the processing of migrant applications. Even at launch stage, the organization Migration Watch UK, which advocates for stricter immigration, called the initiative dangerous folly. After the attack in Northern Ireland, the protests and riots begun. This is what started it. And this guy right here that shouldn't have a knife had one to the older disabled guy there and was ready to mess him the hell up. Yeah. As I said, that's not going to pan out too well. Am I right? Here's one by natural-born Irish citizen there. Born and raised. Sweetheart, Molly Pitcher. I would assume the Irish are ready to burn the entire city of Belfast down to the ground over a Sudanese migrant trying to behead a native Irish person. I don't blame them for being upset. And she even agrees with it. Women aren't naturally fond of violence, should I say, or this kind of stuff.
Send them home! Send them home! Send them home! Send them home! Send them home!
Wow, that's a lot of. I'm sure I'm not the ambulances. The fire department really had to cut out for their work and had to do a lot of work there. I'll tell you that much. I know this is really random, but I love these memes, and this fully orchestrates what people have been saying left and right that have a brain in their stem. This meme fully orchestrates what people have been saying and how these liberal women do a lot of damage and weaken the nation. Look, orcs welcome. A few years later, we don't feel safe. Yep. And you learned way later, but you still don't do nothing about it, because remember, I'm not going to be a dickhead about this here, but let's be honest, for the most part, women don't lead revolutions. For the most part, and the majority do not. And as you can see right here, it could be way too late, and when they still could have a chance, they still say, oh, whatever, and then they're just content with this. Anyways, besides the point, let me know what you think about that one, your 2 cents on it. Alright, last online Twitter clip for the day, or I'm sorry, X Twitter clip. Immigrants getting evicted in Belfast. Oh, the protesters really are on that time. They're their own ICE enforcement agency, huh? They're their own ICE enforcement agency. Damn, they're breaking down that door. People are just casually watching, and there's people in the background freaking waiting. That's wild. Well, when the government doesn't do their job, some people step up and do it for them. Oh, here's the second part of the video where they actually came in the person's home. Here's the second part of it, I believe it looks like. Wow, they fully kicked down the door.
You fucking foreigners!
Damn, no one was home, I guess. Or if they were, they probably already left when they started doing all this shit, and the place is on fire. Holy. I just can't help it but here. I wanted to show a video, but this works as well. I'll still probably show it. Van full of migrant on M62 this morning. It looks like they are fleeing Ireland. Be careful out there, people. Yep, they're fleeing. They're like, oh no, fuck this, I had enough of this. I'm not about to be a statistic or so, or be caught in this chaos. They're like, I'm getting out of here, buddy. I'll go to the UK where this probably wouldn't happen, but even the UK, a lot of people from the UK are waking up because of this. Good. Maybe we should well, now we got Trump funding ICE and ICE doing their job. I was going to say if we didn't get that, then this gives a lot of people notes and ideas. Oh, real quick, nomads. Last thing. This is apparently the victim that was attacked by that Sudanese guy with that ceremonial knife. This is Stephen Ogville, lying in the hospital bed after the attack, according to some reports. Wow. Poor freaking guy, man. That's going to leave a lot of nasty scars. That freaking piece of trash. What did he do to this poor guy? It looks like a survivor from a scary movie or a cartel torture to make a statement. This looks like some shit the cartel would do. Like here in America. Holy. Poor guy, man. Hopefully he recovers and he actually gets some help. That is awful. It's horrible. Yeah, I just had to show that real quick. Sorry if for the people that were eating or they see this video and are about to eat. Sorry if this upsets you, but we have to fully understand what the hell is all going on here. That's all I got for you today, though, Nomad Pack. Let me know your thoughts and comments. Hope you enjoy Ireland. Stay based and continue to fight back against bad, evil, stupid politicians. And catch you all next time. Take care. Stay safe. Peace.